And now let's talk about the fourth and final season of Titans.
Right.
And
I
it's so
started
funny
this.
because
I didn't see the ending.
okay, you started. All right. And
Yeah.
it's so funny because yeah, believe it or not, we've actually been covering this show since it came out, a few years back, right?
Right.
And that's just as a preamble, right? Preamble part, right? Before we get into the review here, right? I'll cover it, right? Um, I will just never forget seeing the first trailer for Titan season one, and how the
No,
world
fuck,
just
fuck.
erupted when we heard
No.
"fuck Batman."
Yeah, fuck
I was like,
Batman.
"What?
Yeah.
What?" You know what I mean? Like, what kind of edge lordy kind of shit is this, right?
Yeah.
And I will say, even though I have not recapped the previous seasons, right? Um, I would say that this show started off pretty rough. I felt that it did not, it
Right.
was trying to establish its own identity. Because, yeah, I mean, really what you look at it is just a Riverdale version of a CW superhero
That's
show. That's
pretty much
that's
what it is. Yeah.
exactly what it is, right?
You're basically the Riverdalification of DC, a DC comic. And
Yes.
I think why
Well,
why
well,
it was
that
so
I more find it like a CWDC show in particular. That's what
right.
really what they're going for. Yeah.
Yeah, like a darker
'Cause-
CW TV show. Yeah.
Yeah, because that same kind of, pretty attractive people that you're seeing there that, going through stuff in life and, they want to do good. Well, the heroes want to do good. But in this case, they're so burdened by all these, like, dark shit and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So whether it's Nightwing, whether it's Raven, whether it's Starfire, everybody
The only
have
character
shit to deal with.
yeah, the only character with any excuse is Raven. Like that's
Yeah.
yeah.
And speaking of her, um, that season, season one, I felt leaned a little too much into the dark fantasy vibe of things, right?
Yeah.
I
Well, I
mean,
mean
which is
it's
fine. I mean, given
yeah, exactly.
yeah, but I'm,
I
I'm
mean
I'm going off for somebody who one haven't really read a lot of Teen Titans comics, but I
right.
but I but I love the original series. I
No, I
honestly
mean
couldn't care
it's
less about Teen Titans Go, but like
right.
ever so often with the cartoon, right, with the old Teen Titans show, ever so often they will lean towards the dark stuff, right? The stuff involving
Right.
Trigon, right? As in
That is it,
Raven's
yeah.
father.
I mean
But in this
that's pretty much
case,
your
with
character, yeah.
this show here, and to say this with this season here, yeah, it leans a lot into that Trigon shit, though. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
sorry
yeah,
for
yeah.
cutting.
No, that's pretty much it. I mean her character is all of that. It's that brother blood, all of that whole thing with Trigon. But that's her whole character. And you have whole arcs in Titans that is about that. That's okay, that's it. I mean that's the
Yeah,
story. So it's like
yeah.
whatever.
But it almost feels like it's a detriment to everything else because you want to
What
do the
was
dark post Gotham as in the
yeah,
series stuff with Nightwing, but you
right.
also want to bring in Starfire and other stuff like that which you'll get
Well,
into, right?
what was weird is that I remember that season one was had a weird ending because the season premiere felt like the season finale.
No, what
Like
happened? I don't know
yeah,
what happened for some reason. I don't know if they
yeah,
ran out of time or whatever it is.
yeah, it was
But
weird.
the premiere of season two was the finale of season one that we
Right.
didn't get to see because of
Yeah.
reasons, right? And then the story really picked up from there, right?
Right.
And I should mention too, I believe it's in season one. That was where we got our first introduction to the Doom Patrol, right? Which of
Right.
course got its own spin-off series.
Right. Which
And
end up turning out to be a much better show by far. Like not even close. So
it
much better than this, eh?
It,
Holy
it
crap.
is, it is. Especially the way how they treat their characters. They
Yeah.
feel much more fleshed out here. Yes, it does kind of lean towards the whole navel gazing kind of, I'm an outcast man, woe is me kind of stuff. But it's stuff that you could relate to. Here, you could again with the Riverdale stuff, it feels like it's leaning more towards teen angst, and it's just like,
Yeah.
ugh, you know what I mean? Nobody likes me, nobody understands me, so fuck everybody, man. That's how it kind of feels, right? And I mean that in itself is a good team to kind of base your whole show on, but it's not strong, unfortunately, right? This idea that these characters are the children of, much more superior individuals who, so they're all misunderstood. They're all like
Right.
bastards, if you will, in a sense, and they all kind of find their way together and they form a team, right? So if you look at it like that, it kind of makes sense, but I just felt like it just leaned too much towards the whole dark fantasy stuff, right? What I will say though is from season two, that was when it started
And pick up.
to pick up. It started to get
Yeah.
its own identity. It started to make sense. Things started to click, right? And I was liking it. Even the third season, with its flaws and all, I really enjoyed that.
Right.
Particularly with Red Hood being such a
Right.
standout villain in that too, and how they
Yeah.
incorporated Scarecrow. I think it was. Yeah, Scarecrow was the I think it
It
was
take
Scarecrow
it take me a
was
while
the
to
main
pick up.
villain in the third
Yeah.
one.
it take me a while to pick up on the whole Riverdale, but when you see who Batman was and how he's portrayed, it's like, oh, it's like he's like a dark Adam Westner. So that's how it felt.
Yes.
And then when you find out about Luthor's origin, it's like, oh, okay, well, that's the Golden Age Luthor or the Silver Age Luthor or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Is that. So it's like, all right, whatever.
Right.
Um,
I
yeah,
should mention too before I forget. Also, I believe is in the second season. We saw Superboy, right? And
right.
I would say like the introduction with him, and just the earlier stuff with him was fantastic. How they incorporate crypto into it was
Yeah,
pretty cool as well.
yeah,
But really, why I enjoy the Superboy stuff is that they even make him fit in this sort of dark, edgy world of Titans, right? They make it work. They make it work, right? And he is like, usual thing, Superman, Batman, right? He is that great contrast to Nightwing, sorry. Because
yeah,
yes, even though Nightwing does not want to be under Bruce Wayne's shadow, he still kind of thinks and moves and act like Bruce, right? He can't help it, right? But Superboy is like, all right, yeah, like in his case, it makes sense because he is both the son, if you will, DNA wise, of
yeah,
Lex Luthor and Clark Kent. It's like,
right.
who do I really follow, right? So just jumping into this new season here, they really touch on that very well here, where yeah, you find Superboy being conflicted here, Connor, sorry, yeah, being conflicted here in terms of who he should align himself with, to right, who he should align himself with, right. So the season opens up with him being invited to Star Labs, right, which is in Metropolis here in this world, right.
Yeah.
Um, and it's so funny because Clark Kent himself pretty much invited him and the other Titans. But when they show up, it's like, well, yeah, Superman not there because he on assignment and,
Yeah, some
some kind of
bullshit.
bullshit reason, right? Which
Yeah,
is
there's
dumb.
always in our Robot Chicken sketch that it can't perfectly nail that problem. Just trust me. It how to have Clark Greg's character. Well, it's making fun of Agents of Shield.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. And Clark Greg's character was like, just with our binoculars, just looking and say, "Hey, Iron Man, where? Just trust me." Like,
Yeah,
it's
he's covered,
that.
he's covered.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's the same bullshit. You
right,
always have
right,
an
right.
excuse for these characters to not be there. That's why I enjoyed that Bruce was there. Like
Hmm.
in season two, it's like, oh yeah, right. Bruce actually have a character with him. They do something with it. That kind of stuff. No, I don't
Yeah.
know.
But for the life of me, I think they rectified it in season three because I haven't watched season three in a long while, right? But
Right,
actually don't see Bruce at all in this season, right? But I think they sort of sorted out his arc in that last season. Because I think in season two, whatever it is, he just sort of got desensitized and just didn't want to be Batman anymore because, slight spoiler, he killed Joker, right? That
right,
actually
right.
happens in the beginning of season two, right? So it's like, yeah, I don't want to be Batman anymore. But I think in season three they sort of sorted that out. But I just can't remember what happened, right? But anyway, so yeah, when it comes to Connor now, Lex Luthor actually runs into him, right? And tells him that he is dying, so
Right.
he's trying to find he's basically want to use dark magic to be to prolong his longevity, if you will, right? But that doesn't play out well. And then we introduce the character of May Bennett, who we realize is actually part of this sinister cult, and is all about resurrecting Trigon, right? But
Right.
it's through this guy who will eventually become Brother Blood, right? He
Yeah.
is called Sebastian. He is this introvert. He just always to himself, right? He's this video game programmer, and he's trying to get this game off the ground, but things don't play out. But then it leads to this big plot eventually involving him using that game to try to warp people's minds and, well, eventually take over the world, right? But all of this is just build up for him to become the big baddie, Brother Blood, right? So
Yeah.
while all this is going on now, our heroes more or less trying to sort this thing out. Well, trying to stop, this big threat of Trigon and whatnot. Because yes, Raven is aware of it too, and yes, slight spoiler, Raven and Sebastian actually are family. They actually are related. Because they have, because they are part of Trigon's lineage, right?
Yeah.
It also involves, Corianders, right? AKA Starfire, right? Because I actually forgot this from season one, but apparently Trigon wanted to destroy her home planet as well.
Yeah. It's that
Um,
whole thing. Yeah.
yeah. So, this whole big threat of brother blood and whatnot, kind of affects her as well too. There's a subplot involving Beast Boy, aka Garfield Logan, right? Where he taps into this dimension, if you will, called the Red. It's where
Right.
he's able to like tap into pretty much everything, like when it comes to his
Animals.
skill
Yeah.
sets and powers and
Yeah.
just everything, right? Um, And it's actually a great episode involving that, but I'll talk about that in a bit as well, right? And yeah, essentially that's really what the season is about. It's just the last hurrah for these heroes. They really they have to take down this super bad evil body, and it's just yeah, it's just a matter of whether they will
Yeah.
survive or not, right? And I'll stop there. So Ricardo, just off the episodes that you saw, you can tell me how much you saw. What did you think of the season at that point?
Again, well, it was feeling like it was wrapping up, so I was like, all right, whatever. Again, sorry to say it, but I was really like, I kind of forget. Oh, right, we had to review Titans, and I was like, yeah, I kind of just I wasn't interested. Like, I really kind of clicked off the show, and very little bit of interest. But I was like, all right, they're doing Brother Blood. All right, I suppose I kind of interested, but like to me, they should do that since season one, whatever. Um, that's about it. Like, I couldn't get myself to care, to be honest. Like with all of this, so uh,
Okay.
because the show wrapping up, here the problem. With respect to the meta narrative, I until Flash show, like I don't really give a shit about anything DC at all because all of this don't mean nothing, right? A big reason why I didn't really care for Shazam, even though Shazam was fine on its own right, I couldn't care. Flash gonna wrap up everything and reset everything, I assume. And yeah, like until Gunn come in and do his stuff, I'm hard pressed to care about any of this because all of this don't mean anything to me. So that's how I feel about it. That's why I have zero effort in taking it. Like if you watch it and you're enjoying it, fine. But I couldn't care less. Same thing with the Arrowverse. Arrowverse wrapping up just now. Flash was a solid show on its own right, but I really don't care until Gun start. Right. So moving on.
All right, so I will use what you just said as a springboard to share my thoughts, right? Because in the process of me talking about this season, I'll talk about the show as a whole, right? For me, just in retrospect, just looking back at this 4 seasons. I mean, for one thing, yeah, you had to be glad that at least it didn't go for 8 seasons like Flash, or God forbid, 10 seasons like Smallville did, right?
Right.
But I felt honestly we could have gotten one more season out of this, just one more, right? But I understand, the stuff with James Gunn and him more or less resetting everything DC film wise. Yeah, it kind of makes sense why the show had to end the way well had to end at all, right? Um, but for me though, what where like just looking back at it, right? I would say that this is one of those shows that at least took a risk in terms of the style of the show, the content and whatnot. Because you have to
Right.
remember, like if you were to compare to say Marvel Studios, right, whether it's their TV or film output, they have yet to put out anything R-rated.
Right.
And Titans is actually like the first, Arrowverse DC based TV stuff that we've gotten in a while, or I should
No,
say, gotten period that
all of that would have
was
been
that level.
fine. Yeah, all of that would have been fine if the writing was good. No, again,
I know I'll get to right to too,
yeah,
but go on.
yeah, exactly. But the main problem is that in the context of Doom Patrol, Doom Patrol is such a superior show in at least Doom Patrol season one. It's such a much better show in almost every way. So like I real hard pressed to think, oh, well, all right, well, yeah, Dizzy writing still we still doing this. The stuff with Slade was okay, like it's stuff like that. Like it had moments, but I just could not get into the show in the way it did. I mean, it's not the worst show. It's not as bad as Gotham was or anything like that. But it's just like yeah, we still we accepting this low effort bullshit, right? Like enough. Like, that's how I feel about it. Like
No,
especially in the context of Gun and what
yeah,
they could do with it. Again, Arrowverse is Arrowverse because Arrowverse is TV and it's network television and this kind of stuff. But like for cable, we still doing this. Like enough,
yeah.
man. Yeah, whatever.
What,
Go
what
ahead,
what
man.
what I would say, just touch on the Arrowverse for a bit. Don't worry, we'll talk about season 4, right? What I would say about the Arrowverse, like I just wish now, just looking back at this series, that somehow Titans could have fit into Titans and Doom Patrol could have fit somehow in the Arrowverse, right? Now you have to remember way back when DC tried the
Yeah,
thing with
multiverse.
with the
Yeah,
platform and it didn't work. Well, you
yeah,
remember when they had their own little streaming platform
yeah.
for
I
like a
remember.
while, right?
Yeah,
And that was where we got Titans. I think it was season 2, or I think it was either the first or second season when DC had launched their own platform, right?
right.
But the point is that it just feels so distant from the Arrowverse, even though writing and quality wise it is Arrowverse level. Let's be
Yep.
real here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have made sense if somehow it fit now. You know what I mean? But separating it and trying to treat it like its own thing just didn't work. Like let's just be real. Like it's part of the Arrow. it could have been part of the Arrowverse. That's basically what I
Well,
see. I think we could
there's
have gotten more potential out of it
yeah.
if it was. But
I
the CW and the content that we have here, we can't have TVMA shit here, so blah blah blah. But like still, if that's the approach, because remember, it's Greg Berlanti is producing all of the stuff, eh? Even
right.
Stargirl, by the way, I should mention Stargirl as well. So why not just have all this stuff be part of the Arrowverse somehow, right? Instead of
Listen,
trying to stretch out shows and like, I mean, perfect example. Look at Legends of Tomorrow. Look at how far and unnecessary it went. Like I always have to remind myself that it canceled too. I always have to remind myself that because I
right.
never watched it last season, right? But yeah, it could have just all fit together. But no, just splitting it apart and trying
Yeah.
to treat it like it's part of it, but not part of it. I think
Yeah.
that was a bad call from the beginning.
Well, again, they could not. Well, remember, you had to understand the actual movie. Again, we had to get into history of this, but yeah, last point. The movie side of this was fucking things up too. Like since you know 2000 when 18 or whatever it is, like they just couldn't get the shit together. They couldn't make any of this work or make any sense of it, and so everybody just had to go in their own silos and say, all right, let us do your own thing. No, that's how it felt. So, Belanti and them could have make a better effort on putting it together, but like, too little too late for that. Sorry to say it. Because it's not going to have a grander project that it's not going to go anywhere. So, just wrap up the shows and done. Even, remember, like, one of the best shows they did in this interim period was Krypton, in my humble opinion.
All right,
Uh,
I still have not seen Krypton, to be honest,
at least I
but I know
thought,
you really enjoyed it.
yeah, I was digging Krypton a lot, but like again, they're not gonna link it, so moving on. It's stuff like that. No. It's a real shame. Whatever.
Yeah,
We'll see.
it's a
We'll
shame
see.
though.
Yeah, we'll see with what going on with Superman and Lois if they're gonna do anything with that going forward. Again, it would be a mistake if you were to leave that out because you have to unite the brand. Even if you're doing multiverse bullshit,
Hmm.
unite the brand. That's the idea. No? Keep everything under one kind of workable continuity and have it where I'd have to go to different places to solve these ideas or problems. Anyway, so
Yeah,
what?
and one other thing I'll say before I jump into the review proper, because as you bring up, Warner Brothers slash DC and their race to try to keep up with Marvel and what Marvel was doing and everything Marvel doing, right? They were onto something with the Arrowverse. They were onto something with those shows, right? You could say
Right.
what you want about the quality and the acting and the VFX. Oh my god, the VFX, right? But
Right.
still, something like Titans existing though, while they was still trying to sort this shit out with the DCEU. I mean, think about that. Like
Right.
here we have something that's mature, right? And up to now, Marvel Studios haven't really done anything like that as far as TV and film go, right? So they could have, in retrospect, DC and Warner could have said, well, here, we have our TV stuff, so let's push the envelope with that, and that's what I feel he was really trying to do with Titans, especially with that fuck Batman moment and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's
Right.
just again, as I said, we can't link it because of reasons and stuff, so we gotta kind of keep to ourselves. But it's like, nah, man, they could have put all this together, right? Anyway, so about this final season, it's good for what it is,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
What
Right.
I will say though is that it reminds me a lot of the first season. It is, I would say, darker than the first season. It leans a lot more into dark fantasy, I would say, and also into horror as well, boy. Because yeah, there's some horrific shit in it, right? This is kind of weird though, but there's a lot of retching in it, a lot of vomiting in it, a lot of characters being like because one thing that, well, one of the villains, Mother Mayhem, right, who is revealed to be May Bennett, right? She
Right.
has this kind of thing. So, like, when characters are being possessed, well, I guess that's the term I could use, or like, like she's trying to kill them from the inside out. So they kind of do this thing where they kind of choke on their own blood and then they vomit. Either they vomit blood or vomit some kind of, black goo or something. It really reminds me of like an Evil Dead film, which is funny
Right.
because just now we're going to talk about Evil Dead Rise, right? So
Right.
yeah, they really lean a lot into horror into this one, right? But I will say compared to the first season, um, there is more there is more focus on Trigon, right? And I can respect that, right? But it kind of feels to the detriment of everything else, even right down to the Beast Boy stuff. Because the Beast Boy stuff actually is pretty interesting, right? But and you actually get a couple episodes centered on him, right? There's actually a great episode, I would say. Well, reasonably great episode. That will be episode 9. Dude, where's my guy?
Right.
That is one that people are gonna remember and go back to, because slight spoiler, they introduced the multiverse into this, into
Okay.
the show itself, right? And they even do a little shout out to Grant Morrison actually, and they say they call him the inventor of the multiverse. I don't know, I'm not familiar with his work, but
Right,
yeah,
right, right.
they shout about, right? But
Well, what seemed to be the case is that I think James Gunn pushing a Grant Morrison type Superman. So we'll see. Yeah,
okay, right? And believe you me, when you see how they pay tribute to him, that's all I will
yeah,
say without spoiling anything. If you're a Grant Morrison fan, you'll be like, all right, sure, I like this, right?
yeah.
But what they do also very well, without spoiling too much though, is that yeah, they actually connected to other shows. So you see a character from an Arrowverse show up. You see a character or two or three from a HBO Max DC film, or I should say Max original series, show up here,
Okay.
and in the subsequent episode as well too. So it's like, all right, that's cool, right? Well, I guess I could kind of let this out one time. They mentioned the Doom Patrol here, so now
Right.
I'm wondering with the Doom Patrol, because the second half, the final season hasn't really started as yet. I'm wondering now if they're gonna incorporate the Titans characters into that. I think it
Right.
would make a lot more sense. It doesn't have to be Beast Boy alone. It could be other characters, just seeing. But I think it'd be great if they are included into this final season. I haven't started the final season of that show as yet, but I am assuming that they will show up, eventually, right? But yeah, as I said, this season really leans a lot into horror, and for some people, especially those who probably just don't care about the show altogether, they might find it like really trying hard to be all edge lordy and whatnot. And
Right.
admittedly, it is. It's really trying to be like, oh my god, look at how gross and gory and all this too, right? But it's like, and this is supposed to be like a superhero show. Like, I understand, given the context, it's Trigon, it's evil shit, right? But at the same time, it's like, you are watching a superhero movie or watching some kind of horror film, like make up your mind, right? Um, and yes, you do get some superheroics here or there and whatnot, but oftentimes it feels overshadowed by this horror stuff, right? Anyway, the acting is still fine for what it is. Like, I'm not gonna knock anybody for their, bad performances or whatnot. Everybody kind of do their thing, right? The version of Lex Luthor that we see here, I thought that was really, really clever. The actor that they got to play him, Titus Welliver. I was
Right.
like, all right, okay. And I didn't expect I expect to see you in this. He's a solid Lex Luthor. I'll give him that, right?
Right.
He won't be up there amongst the greats like the Gene Hackman or the Michael Rosenbaums and whatnot, but he's a good Lex. He's a good Lex, and how they incorporate him into the
Is he
story was
better than
really smart.
is he better than the guy what's his name by who played
Oh,
Lex?
from Supergirl.
Yeah, what's his name? Yeah.
Oh gosh, I forget his name.
Yeah, which
Oh gosh.
I liked his Lex a lot.
Yeah, it's given where Lex is, where all right. So basically, Lex is more contemplative of his life, right, of his
Right, right.
mortality. That's the Lex where we get here, right? But there's another
Wait,
version of
why
Lex that
Lex?
you'll see later on that leans more towards the Lex that we know, but more of the I'm smarter than you and I'm gonna use my tech and my power, basically to run shit. You get that? But
Right.
how that is brought up in the narrative, I thought that was really smart though. That was a really smart move that they did there, right? I will give them that. But yeah, you're saying?
No, I was just thinking, why is he wait? So I well too much of the plot, but why he's sick? Because he had too much crypt. Yeah, he had a piece of kryptonite on him for too long or something like that.
Oh, honestly, I can't remember though. I think it's some kind of terminal illness that he had. I'm not sure what it was to be
Right.
honest, right?
So
Yeah,
usually there's do that kind of storylines sometimes. You'll be like, oh yeah, he keep a piece of kryptonite on him, but kryptonite does make humans sick too. Though. Stuff like that.
okay.
Yeah, well,
All
yeah.
right, all right. Few things for you. I mean, visually, it's everything that you would expect from this show so far, where it looks slightly better, slightly polished than your average Arrowverse TV show.
Right.
The VFX is still hit or miss though, especially like when it comes to Beast Boy stuff. Like as always make the joke, especially when it comes to shows like Flash and Arrow and thing, where they see, yeah, even to extent Superman Lois, where you could tell they hold back the budget for a
Yep.
certain shot or a certain
Yeah.
moment. Yeah, they
Yeah.
do that. They do that. When it comes to like the major beats in this season here, yeah, I could tell. Yeah, that's what they saved the money for,
Yeah,
basically, right?
I think what's smart they learn to do it a little smarter because instead of just trying to show off a special effect, they'll just cut around it or save money. You'll see them saving money here or there when
Yeah,
you'll
yeah,
just hear a sound effect or something like that. And just do show it on camera. Just cut away from it and have a character reaction shot or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah, stuff like
And
that.
and, and, sp- and speaking of shooting around, Yeah, and even when it comes to the fight scenes, yeah, you'll know who's a stuntman and who isn't.
Yeah,
You'll know. It's that
yeah.
kind of show, right?
Okay.
When it took the characters, I thought was pretty interesting as well. But really, when it comes to character arcs or whatnot, the standouts for me were Beast Boy and Superboy. I actually thought that where their stories were taken, I thought that was really great, right? But that's not to say that Starfire and Nightwing and I forgot to mention there's also the new Robin, well Tim Drake that comes into the story,
Right.
right?
I
Yeah.
saw I saw a picture of him, and he looks
Okay.
great. Cause I
Yeah,
made the
yeah. The
joke.
suit is fantastic, I must
Yeah,
say.
I saw a
Yeah.
picture of him because what I saw is I made the joke Marlon Wayans would be proud.
Oh
Because it
shit.
looks a lot like the what do you call him the oh god who did the 2004 Batman
Oh yeah, it has that Joel Schumacher look to
Joe
it.
Schumacher,
Yeah,
right? The
you're right.
Schumacher look, yeah, it had a very
Yeah.
Schumacher-esque look. I find I was very impressed by that.
Yeah. Yeah. And him becoming Robin was pretty cool as well. They even do something kind of interesting. That's all I'll say. I don't know. I haven't. I don't like follow. I don't. I'm not all too familiar with the incarnations of Tim Drake in comics, right?
Right.
But yeah, they actually establish the fact that he is gay. Yeah. So there's a guy
Well,
that works
yeah,
at Star Labs, and yeah, they hit it off. I'm like, all right, okay,
yeah. The character supposed
cool.
to be, well, I know the character supposed to be bisexual because the last
Okay, okay.
vi- the last video game had him as bi in that storyline.
That's Gotham Knights, or no?
Yeah, Gotham Knights. Yeah,
Okay, okay, okay.
yeah,
Yeah. They even incorporate the character of Jinx, who I know is a villain from the Teen Titans comics. Unfortunately, they don't really do much with her, to be honest. But I
right.
like the actress. I thought that she was fine as well, right? And where the story ends, or I should say, where the series ends, is satisfying. It will satisfy the fans and
Right.
whatnot, and it leaves room. It leaves it out there for these characters to be incorporated into other shows. I
Right.
do suspect that we may see them in the end of Doom Patrol, or maybe not. I don't know. But again, just going back to the whole Arrowverse thing, it's just really unfortunate that this and Doom Patrol were not part of this. Even though people will say it is, it kind of isn't when you really think about it. They really could have merged the two, right? Warner and DC could have done that. Because yeah, you could have given these characters more time to shine in other shows, right? Now I haven't started the last season of The Flashes yet, but I know we may see some Titans characters show up. I think we may see some Doom Patrol characters show up. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But then that in itself will bring up whether it is part of the Arrowverse or not, right? And I already shared my thoughts on that, right? But yeah, where it ends is satisfying enough. I mean, it's not overly surprising or shocking where the story ends. But it's like, yeah, all right, I could live with that. Me personally, I just felt it could have had one more season to flesh out the character arcs a lot more. But eh,
Right.
gun coming, right? Gun coming to do his thing, right?
Yeah, no, it's real hard for me to care about any of this. I mean, if you do some with it or they bring back some actors, fine. But yeah, just enough time to press the reset button on this. I mean, look how much time passed between Batman and Robin and Batman Begins. That was like 6 years, or something like
Yeah,
that,
well, is it 8 years? I think I got
No,
because it's
98.
97 to 2000, 97 to 2005, so that's eight.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. But whatever. But Man of Steel was 10 years ago. That is ridiculous.
yeah,
Come on.
yeah. You're right.
And
Yeah,
they just let this thing limp along for as long as way too long. Wasting time on nonsense. I know, reboot this bullshit enough.
yeah. So in closing, as far as the season goes, didn't enjoy it as much as 2 and 3, right? Even though 2 and 3 had their issues, I really enjoyed those two because I felt that was where the show really was hitting its stride and really knew what it was and what it was setting out to be, basically, right?
Right.
But this season really felt like more of season one, where it's like, okay, we need to be dark for dark's sake, and edgy for edgy's sake, and gory for gory's sake, or whatnot. But again, like I said, this is like easily the goriest season we've gotten so far. But
Right.
I just felt like it just leaned a little too much into horror, to the point, like, where's the superheroics and all of this, you know? But I mean, I know the show has its audience, and they will enjoy this, right? But for what it is for me, I liked it. It was what it was. I wouldn't see myself watching over the season or the show, to be honest, though. But that's not to say that there isn't any good in it for you to, appreciate, right? So I would say rating wise for this season here, I'll just give this a light 3 out of 5. It's aight for what it
Okay.
is. If you care to see it, watch it. If you don't want to, it's fine, whatever. But I'm a completionist. So I kind of want to see how shows end. So I stuck through it for 3 seasons enough. I had to see the final season, right? And for what it is, it's fine. Could have been much better, but it's fine, right? And I would say for the series as a whole, what my one takeaway with this is that this was Warner and DC saying, here's what, let's try something different, right? People have been tired of the, Arrowverse approach. Okay, let's do something different. Let's really go out of the way to do something different. Let's do some TV Emmy, right? And that's
Yeah.
what they did, right? They tried something, and I actually applaud them for trying something new, right? And then of course you'll see with Doom Patrol where it got a lot deeper, a lot darker in terms of the characters and whatnot, right? Here, admittedly, is still edge lordy kind of emo shit, kind of like fuck you man kind of vibe.
Right.
It's that, right? It's that, right? But it is not a unique take, but it is a significantly different take on the Arrowverse style, right? So I appreciate that, right? But again, I just wish that it was part of the Arrowverse. It would have made a lot more sense, with these characters being part of the Arrowverse itself. So at least when the show ends, they could be incorporated into whatever's left of the Arrowverse,
Yep.
But it's
I,
still, again, it's just that indecision, it's just that indecisiveness of Warner and DC to say, well,
yeah.
we can't put it in the Arrowverse because CW don't like these kind of shows, so we have to make our own platform so you can put it there. And now the platform didn't work, so we gotta put it in HBO Max. And it's like, come on, man, like just stick to your guns. Let people know, yo, this is our shit. We keeping it here, man. Don't
Yeah.
try to sidestep and be like, okay, we'll put it here. So if you don't like the dark stuff, you can kick with the lights. Come on, man. Make up your minds, right? But yeah, for what it is, the show itself as a whole, I would just rate as a very light 3.5 out of 5.
Right.
It's worth checking out. It's worth checking out just to see Warner and DC take a risk in terms of their TV output. And just lastly, after reiterate here, Marvel Studios has yet to do a TV MA or rated R show, and DC actually did it with this show here. So that's, I mean, for better or for worse, that's like the one takeaway you should take away from Titans, right? So say what you want about the quality and the acting and the fuck Batman attitude. Yeah, they try something new, right? So it is what it is, right? But I'll stop there. So Ricardo, I don't know if you have any last words on just looking back at Titans,
I'll probably again the stuff with Slade I remember being okay. I didn't hate any of that. The stuff with Donna Troy dying the way she did, I was just dumb. Uh, I don't again, it's just one of those things that just come across so gimmicky in my humble opinion. But whatever, it is what it is. If people enjoy it, they enjoy it. So moving on, but as I say, you say they should have stick to their guns. My attitude is that they should stick to their gun, right, and deal
I
with
see what you
that
did there.
deal with that and go forward with that. Because my attitude is that look, I have no idea if Gunn gonna do a good job with it, but going by that the quality of that last Guardians movie, boy, I have a lot of faith in him at this point.
Yeah,
So
me
yeah,
too.
yeah. So I again, what am I say? I can't say no. It's just time to move on. Again, Flash ending. They hopefully will reboot everything with the Ezra Miller, that last Ezra Miller movie, and then hopefully we'll get something a real kind of push forward and thing. Because this movie was supposed to do a hot minute ago too. That was supposed to be like 8 years ago. They just let limp on. I think that's my problem. Again,
Wait,
ignoring
a movie or you mean series?
no this
Titans.
movie. No, sorry, not Titans. The Flash movie. No, that was supposed
Yeah,
to come out a hot minute ago to reset everything since however long, like 2017, something insane like that, or after Justice League, or some
mm,
crap like that. But like, look, the pandemic happened, like that, all of that is part of it too, so it's fine. Whatever. Moving on.
yeah.
Just
Moving on,
literally
moving on.
move the fuck on from this. You got real goddamn tired of this shit.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
well, we in terms of these TV shows here, we just have Flash and Doom Patrol to look out for. To be honest, I would like to see how Flash ends, but at the same time, it's like, do I really want to?
No, Flash. No,
But
but
but Doom
Flash at
Patrol,
least.
however, I would like to see how
Yeah.
that ends.
No, but
Even though I
Flash.
have to refresh myself on what happened before, 'cause I
No,
haven't seen it in a
for
while.
as bad as Flash got, Flash at least earned its props now for when it was good. Like, and regardless of how you feel about it, I just really like Grant Gustin as a Flash. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I
He
don't
will he
mind.
will be he will be
Yeah,
Flash, right? Regardless of whether Ezra Miller stays or goes, right? That's all I'll say.
right, exactly. But my attitude is that yeah, I don't. To be honest, like and I said before, like I thought this wasn't possible, but now it might be. Even Grant Gustin coming to the movies because Ezra Miller is like a complete nightmare now. So and probably the worst PR ever. So yeah, let's like give him. I don't know how old Grant is, like 34 now or whatever it is. Just give him like a couple more movies, and then he could leave now. But that's about it. I just they should like finally get serious now. There's no problem with this now. Just get serious with the shit now. At least make some actual solid stories and movies. And they never get serious. They never get
Yeah.
serious. And we could probably talk about the CU as a whole, and they have a whole retrospective to talk about. But yeah, from since Batman v Superman, they never recover from that, right? They never get a shit together, and finally, they might do this with God. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.